The new Pokobia DLC is out. I'm here with Lore Keeper Toby, and I've got a list of potential new theories. I've got questions about some of the things that we're seeing in this new version of Cerulean City that we've never seen before.
And the city's changed. It's been fascinating
changed a lot.
to sort of go around and be like, well, hang on, that's the bike shop and that's the this. And then what is that? And what does that mean? And so, like, I'm definitely excited to now dive in. Mind the pun. Because I think there's some
the water
deep
jokes.
lore. More in the deep. We're so good. And we'll probably have a laugh while we're there. But go, tell me about it. What were you thinking about that?
I want to start out with this new tower that has been erected in Cerulean City.
Okay.
This seems monumental to me. This seems crazy.
Yeah.
When we see towers in the Pokemon world, there's usually an association to legendary Pokemon, right? Towers are some sort of, not always, but towers are a place of worship. So maybe if the tower is not worshiping a legendary Pokemon, it is worshiping a Pokemon.
So I think
and I'm thinking about Bellsprout.
Towers in, generally it's this idea of humans building their way up to the heavens and the gods. And obviously we see that in Johto with the Bell and Brass Tower. You also see it with the Bellsprout Tower. Johto has a couple of different spots. There's also the Marley City Gardens, which is inspired by that. And
Glad you brought that up. Yeah.
The Isle of Armor, there's the Tower of Waters and Darkness. Again, it's a similar kind of style.
When I was playing through, I played for like an hour and a half of this DLC on day one, and I'm swimming in the abyss, and I stumble upon this pink tower. I'm just trying to understand what this tower could be. Okay. What is the story? When was this created?
What do you think the story is? I have an idea.
You have an idea? Okay.
But do you have anything? Because I would love to hear unfiltered somebody else's opinion. I've been dying to talk to you and hear your thoughts on this.
The first thing I relate it to is maybe the people of Johto. That to me feels very... Sure. That would feel like a natural Game Freak. They're trying to tell a story here. So I think that could potentially be it. And there's a bunch of legendary Pokemon. Okay, so and then I'm also thinking about the legendary birds. And how they have roosted in a variety of different spots. The Kanto birds, we see Moltres in Victory Road, and then the Sevi Islands. And then I was thinking about how Zapdos is actually, Zapdos is like not too far off in, as we know it, in the power plant. But Zapdos doesn't make any sense with the actual tower.
Yeah.
The pink red flowery coloration of that tower made me think of Misty's Goldeen. Made me think of Misty's Goldeen.
Sure.
I was thinking about, she's like the mermaid, right? She's like the mermaid.
Sure.
But then I've also thought about maybe Suicune, how Suicune kind of like jumps around the Kanto region. So, what do you think?
Suicune actually did appear, didn't it, at the Cerulean Cape in Crystal?
Yeah.
I had actually not thought of that, but that suddenly is a not... Oh, that's a really wonderful idea because, okay, so I have had the same thing. Oh, I'm so glad I've spoken to you because now I'm thinking about that.
Yes.
I had the same thing of like, I saw this tower and I'm like, okay, well, what's that about? We've got Legendary Pokemon Association. Johto certainly feels like an obvious thing to point to. And I spent about an hour yesterday just staring at the tower, and you can see that behind the tower, there's a sort of long, red, carpeted, kind of decorated in the same style walkway that has sunken into the abyss. Ooh. And I sort of thought, well, okay, so what's kind of going on there? And where is this based in Cerulean? And I looked at the map of Cerulean, and it's just north of the gym, which means to me that this is the dig house. This is the house where the person who had dig stolen. And so I thought about that. And I thought, well, maybe because the house was destroyed as a result of the events of Kanto, maybe this became a rebuilding site and they ended up creating this tower. And what I think is interesting is where the walkway is, it actually comes face to face with the edge of the Nugget Bridge, meaning that walkway, and the environments are exaggerated, but that walkway leads all the way along the water. So it's effectively another overwater walkway. And maybe it was built using Diglett's using Dig. I went into Let's Go. The guy sort of says, my house has been broken into. I'm going to use Diglets now. Maybe Diglett, or maybe even Wiglet and Wogdria are in this, end up...
Sure.
The foundations are loose. As the city begins to sink, it just collapses.
Yeah.
But this seems to have been like that the city had a bit of like a it kind of really became quite prosperous after the events of the game. And there's multiple things that point to this. So there's a bit of a human record that says about a new fountain that you can actually build, and it's the Dugong Fountain. And the fountain in Cerulean, I didn't know that had lore, but it does. If you go into Let's Go and you speak to the NPC by the fountain, they say, oh, this is a very special fountain in Cerulean City. They say if you like put some money in and make a wish, your wish will come true. So to commemorate something, they've made a fountain. There's a jeweler's that deals with the nicest jewels in the Pokemon world. And the bike shop, which infamously charges a lot of money for its bike. One of the human records suggests that it's got a version that is twice as expensive. Could it be that after the events of Kanto, as a story, Cerulean City just underwent this transformative, like financial swelling, where it became like this really beautiful place to be on the ocean. Misty's like a fitness influencer, like it's a good place to be. But something, perhaps all that building is the very thing that caused it to collapse into the sea as the environment got worse. You know, it's the hubris of trying to reach the gods. I guess the tower, and if it's attached to a Pokemon, I actually just don't know. Like, I still haven't found anything. But go for it.
Yeah, I guess that explanation is not like there are some like nuggets there. No, that was not a nugget bridge. No. There's some evidence
we said
there.
It'd be a funny podcast.
I guess I just don't know if like that is a fulfilling solution, a fulfilling answer to this mystery. Because Game Freak was working on this, right? They decided we want to put this here. It's gonna look like these other things. This is an iconic place in Kanto. This would have been maybe 50 years after the events of Red, Blue, and Yellow. They're not gonna just they put little things here and there about, you know, the Dugong shrine, and they're like, there's a playground now. Like, they'll put little Easter eggs. But this is like a major landmark, right? This would be a defining landmark for Cerulean City. But I think it goes deeper.
I would hope so, but you actually just hit the nail on the head a little bit there when you said the nugget thing. Infamously in Kanto, there is a place called the Nugget Bridge.
Yeah, so
and nuggets are like balls of money in the Pokemon world.
But I don't think it's this. This feels religious. This feels cultural. This tower is not Silph.
But what if the creation of a tower like this, not to worship particular Pokemon or bring people and Pokemon together, but to congratulate human ego, is the story of the city that falls into the ocean? Now, look,
I just feel like that has nothing to do with Cerulean City. I got some more. I have some more ideas. I'd love
to hear him. And I would love to, by the way, find out that it is, in fact, somehow connected to a Pokemon. I really would want that. I genuinely would. I just haven't found it yet, but I'm going to be thinking about Suicune a lot. But go for it. What are your other thoughts and ideas? I want to hear it.
So this was actually, we on Hidden Power Podcast, we were kind of talking about this. So this was like this was a shared brainchild of a bunch of different things. One of the other things that I found in this DLC was Bill's house. I thought it was pretty cool that we actually found like his transporter. There's a little secret like hideaway underneath his house. And then so now I'm just going to lay out a bunch of different pieces of evidence that kind of connect to each other. Okay, Bill, right? He is the hacker, the inventor of the PC box, right? But we also know that there's a hacker. There's like in Pokopia, there are basically the science behind the relocation of human beings. I think is basically it's Bill's storage system, but applied to human beings. So Bill living in Cerulean City, that's cool. But Bill also has ties to the Johto region. He has family in Goldenrod. He also I guess appears. He might actually have family in Eckertique. I need to fact check on that.
Well, his mum is a kimono girl, so she at least, there's historical ties to the area.
So his mother is a kimono girl. Is that real? I didn't realize
true. That is true.
So his mother is a kimono girl, and guess where Bill lives? In Cerulean City. So maybe his ancestors take whatever the kimono girl, the towers, the culture of Eckertique, and they bring that over to Cerulean City.
Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, now
there's some connections there, because then we can talk about that. You get an Eevee from Bill, And guess what? Eevee also has ties to the legendary beast.
Well, let me lay it out for you, because I actually did a video recently on it was like the last Pokopia video I did, and it was on it was on like what the deal was in the Withered Wasteland with the unknown and all that, and I tied the Kimono girls to the area through exactly the same thing, which is Bill also has family in Fuchsia City, and also the I think it's Bill's granddad gives you the evolution stones in Johto.
Yes.
But he does that actually, I think, from Cerulean.
He does the
And how interesting that Suicune in Crystal or Hogwarts or Silver. Hogwarts or Silver?
Hogwarts or Silver.
You battle it at the Cerulean Cape.
Yeah.
Well, hang on now. Actually, what you've just said there, you've just joined some dots together for me. We've got Bill, Kimono Girls, Cerulean City, Suicune,
City,
and this tower that's just like the one in Equity. Well, maybe that tower was in some way built to commemorate Suicune being sighted or caught in Cerulean.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something to do with that. I'm now like, I gotta jump back into the game. I gotta have a look. But that's a really lovely idea.
I don't think a landmark that big would be just frivolously put into this DLC for no reason. This is not a tree. This is not a new type of... Yeah, there's something here that Game Freak is thinking about, and whether we might... I don't know if we have the dots to actually connect yet, but I think there's something here. I almost want to say also what this tower could be is potentially... Right, if towers are created to connect to the gods, right, to legendaries, potentially the tower was built up as a way of keeping the people above water, or like above the town from sink. You know, it's like the town sinks, and at the top of the tower is actually above the water line.
So I like the idea of that, but I think it's the only area, or one of like only a couple of areas that are like that. And I think that the tower, the base of the tower itself is built on the same level as like the Pokemon gym and stuff.
Sure.
Unless we are to think that the gym has sunk down to a different point, or maybe it was higher. It's hard to know. You'd really want a geologist to go in and like have a look and be like, hey, I think this is what the city looked like when it was all on the same level.
Sure.
This
also, like,
first,
and did
first, you know?
And
it's
like, did the catastrophe happen like all at once, or like slowly over time? We don't really know.
I think one of the human records says that Cerulean City is sort of becoming uninhabitable for people, so it's not working out anymore. So I don't get the impression that people had a long period of time to like adapt to the rising sea level. I kind of get the impression that when it started, and quite suddenly and quickly people had to work out if they were staying or going. Yeah.
That's good. No, that's good. I think I also wanted to talk about kind of like, we did a whole video on your channel about Pokemon canon, and I think there's been a lot of people flocking to the idea, the bait, that this is in the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee timeline, and I completely disagree.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so the reason people are saying that is because of the Trace, the human record that suggests that Trace became the Kanto champion.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to do like a review of everything to do with the games. So maybe you arguing why you disagree with it could be like the really interesting angle to look at that from.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, here it is right here. I got that screenshot. So, okay, and I think I said this on your video. My position with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and this is not cope. I don't dislike Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I'm glad it exists. We're like 6 years out. It can exist for what it is. It's fun to play. It really is fun to play sometimes with like when you're not making a big deal about it. Anyways, this is not cope. I think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is just like in a different timeline, and I don't think it's actually. What I think it is you are playing a retelling, like literally like a movie, like a
right.
You're playing a reboot story, right? A reimagining.
This is because of
the events of the real historical events of Red. You know, going on his adventure, defeating Team Rocket, and, you know, them becoming champion. And that's why Red, Blue, Green, they show up as, like, post-game characters.
Your perspective, this is just so it's clear for the people listening, this is based on the opening of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. You see a Pikachu and Eevee go through a television. And so the implication is those games literally aren't tied really to the other Pokemon games. They are kind of their own thing.
Yeah.
And I see that argument. But if that is the case, what that note would then imply, pardon me.
No, and I'll tell you, I got it right here.
Trace does exist in this world in some other form, basically.
So this is from Pokopia. This is from the DLC. The note says, the story of Trace, former champion of the Kanto Pokemon League, and his faithful Marowak companion is now available as a picture book. And then they talk about his fateful encounter. It's available as a charming tale that is perfect to read along with your children. Everything in this note is describing a fictional story. And again, we've seen all of these notes in these letters, how carefully constructed they all are to abide the canon or whatever, like the world that Game Freak is creating and telling in Pokopia. In this note, it does not talk about, it says the story of Trace, a picture book. It is a read-along story with your children.
Is that the exact phraseology?
This is the exact phrasing.
Read me that first line one more time.
The story of Trace, former champion of the Kanto Pokemon League, and his faithful Marowak companion is now available as a picture book.
But
what I'm saying is, like, when you then when you pick up the it talks about there's another note. It talks about the Sevi Islands. It talks about Lorelei. Right? It's not saying it's a picture book. It's saying she's a real person in a real location that you can really go to. And guess what? The Sevi Islands are a real place in Fire Red and Leaf Green. They're a real place in the canon games. The Sevi Islands don't exist in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I just think a lot of people are running with this. The acknowledgement of Trace, they're running with this and acting like, okay, it's Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee overseeds the mainline games. But I think Fire Red and Leaf Green, Game Freak has said Fire Red and Leaf Green are the definitive version of the Kanto games. And you think they're going to flip-flop on that now? Maybe this doesn't matter. This is my...
I really do, because, this is what I spend my time doing. I do appreciate that there's actually some flexibility there. I like that, because it applies. Yeah. But I do think the story of Trace, you can read that two different ways. You can say that this is an article talking about the storybook of Trace, or it could be an article which is talking about the story of Trace as a storybook.
Yeah.
They are two different readings and they imply two different things.
Sure.
But I appreciate I don't dislike the flexibility here. I think that's a really interesting idea and an interesting
take. I think it's consistent with these other things that I've been kind of suggesting are true.
All right, heck yeah.
I'm happy to see it. And just the mention of Trace does. Anyways, I think that was nice. I wanted to bring that up. Everyone's saying Let's Go is the canon timeline now. Come on, guys.
Interesting.
You got to read comprehension skills. Read it again, please.
Whoa.
Read it again. Just read it again. Just because it mentions Trace doesn't mean it is the thing.
No, but it doesn't mean that it's not either. I think it's
it doesn't.
More leans towards.
No, I don't think
the implication is actually more strong. That if I'm gonna, because you said, get some reading skills. Do you know what? I think I'm gonna challenge you.
Go back and read it, because I guess what I'm saying is, like, when they mention Misty, they talk about how Misty is she's on social media, and she's a real person. Like, all these other people that are mentioned in Kanto are mentioned as real people, not as a storybook.
The thing about Trace is the human record. The human record it's a magazine issue, right? It's magazine headings start with the story of a thing, right? Come on, man, get some basic reading comprehension.
All right, that's pretty good.
Go back and read it.
That's true. That is true.
Listen, I actually think it could go either way. I'm interested in it.
You're right. It's like people. It's a gossip column. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Those are all fabricated stories as well.
What else have you been thinking about to do with the basin?
Did we learn more about the professor in Fuchsia City?
Yes.
This had me puzzled. This had me scratching my head.
Yeah. So we learned the professor is a man, which I think we did not know that before. Okay. I think and the reason I think that is because I'm sure I made a video where I was like, it's interesting that they don't mention that, and so maybe
you mentioned Daisy,
person.
I think, in that video.
No, I didn't. Okay. I think somebody did. I think I saw Lumi's video recently, but I mentioned the daughter of the Safari Zone warden. As it happens, I now just think it could just be the Safari Zone, warden of that era, whoever that is, because that would make a lot of sense for what we're doing. But I do think, it could even be just the old Safari Zone warden. They're described as being very old at this time.
Yeah, but, no air of superiority. He's just a He's just like
He's a
a
dude,
very
guy.
humble person. Yeah.
But we learned that they, the big reveal, I think, is that they returned to Earth at some point from the space station.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. That's
That's
so
cool.
cool. I don't think we knew that they had like come back to.
I don't think I've even seen that note yet.
There is a note that suggests that the professor says that I wish I could have gone to sort of Pallet Town, and I wish I could have found my Tangler, but the sinking of Cerulean means that we kind of have to put our attention there. And then the
That's interesting,
person
dude.
who's working with this professor, possibly Bill, because it says like team member B, and I think it's found around Bill's lighthouse, Bill's area, but I don't really know. Possibly this person is sort of talking about the admiration they have for the professor. But just interesting, a survey team came back. So Cerulean was sinking, but I suppose had not fully sunk at the time of the apocalypse. I would need to double check that. Maybe someone in the comments will correct me. But yes, we learn a little bit more. We also learned that they came back to Earth. What does that do at this moment in time? I don't know. Maybe this is DLC Part 3 info.
Dude, I was thinking about
know?
that. I was thinking about that. My buddy
Resolve that
Jake was
story.
explaining to me that like in games, and I can feel it now.
Yeah.
The underwater travel, it's like it is like the same type of physics as like zero gravity travel, and I feel that when I'm underwater. And I've thought in the 2 hours that I've played, I've thought I could see this. I could see us being on the moon.
It's using the bubble as an air helmet.
Yeah.
It's very evocative of like, we're in another world. We're astronauts, right? I think
I don't know if we would
It would
ever
be
actually do that. My
cool to
actual
go
thing,
space.
what I could realistically see is the third DLC being in the Pokemon League / Victory Road / Mount Silver, and you go to the top of Mount Silver. That's pretty epic. That would be pretty epic to see.
That would actually be
where
pretty
there's
wild.
snow. We don't have snow yet in this game.
Ooh,
And for
that would be pretty wild.
for builders and stuff, those are interesting resources. We could also learn about the Pokemon League, all those different rooms. How cool would that be? But also at the top of Mount Silver, I feel like they could do something where maybe Mount Silver is even higher because like it was, you know, it's like as high as like Mount Everest.
Yeah,
and
and you could like see it through a telescope and see the people in space.
Sure, or something. Yeah. I guess you'd still have to be on planet Earth, but I almost imagine like you could jump and then just keep floating, or I don't know. I like the idea of like being
That'd be
able to fly.
interesting. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see that until 2027, though. I've been playing. I pretty much wrapped up my Leaf Green playthrough, and so I was really, really happy to see the mention of the Sevi Islands. Did that do anything to you?
No, because I think the part one had. Sorry, I think part one had Sevi Islands mentioned as well. So that didn't really kind of evoke anything in particular in me.
Okay.
I did think it was interesting that I think one of the people, there's a note that says about, oh, we're going to go to space. We better be careful of space viruses. And that feels like a real nod and a wink to Deoxys.
Well, again, I'm like, are we going to go to space? Like, I just feel.
Could it happen?
I guess
Deoxys.
that's
No, it's one person.
I guess I could see Deoxys crash landing and being like a friendly character.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe telling a story, or being able to share like some of the history or something.
Yeah.
Because he is a space virus. Do we know why Cerulean crumbled?
I mean, not that I could tell. Not that I could see.
That's fine. You've played more than me. That's what I'm asking.
I've finished it. I think the only other things that really caught my attention, and these might be on your list, so I don't want to derail you here, is I thought the inclusion of Cerulean Dungeon was really, really cool.
Yeah, I have to explore that. That's cool.
You haven't explored it yet?
I've seen it. I've like seen the opening of it, and I said I gotta like go to the Pokemon Center first.
So what I will say is I think the story of there is some story implication in the dungeon, but I can't quite work out what it is.
Yeah.
But I think there may have been and this is part of the reason of like the city becoming quite affluent, is that there are some mine carts down there, and I wonder if, you know, there's lots of crystals in Cerulean Dungeon. If again part of the affluence of the city, maybe it came from and the jewelers and the rest of it, maybe it came from mining those crystals.
Yeah. I think there's a new jewelry store that opens up.
There is. That's what. There's a jewelers, which is.
That That's interesting.
Which they mentioned with the pearls and stuff. So maybe that's
New
like
cloister evolution. Yeah.
the thing. There is a warning to not go into Cerulean Cave, and if you see anything suspicious,
Wouldn't that
feels
have been Mewtwo? Like, I guess, like...
feels like a nod to that. I can't think it means anything else new, but
yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Cerulean Cave, I don't know if it's not literally connected to Mount Moon, but to me
it's
it
the
borders
same,
Mount Moon. It's the same.
Yeah. I think if you look at the Kanto overworld map, it's the same. The same network of things. But if you look at obviously Pokopia, it's just ocean as far as the eye can see. So it's they don't edit in because that would be, I think, rocky ridges, and so you'd have like the edge would just connect to rocky ridges, and that would.
No, I love that
work.
This game is almost giving us like an open world.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Experience.
It's pretty cool.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
How deep does the diving actually go? Like, how deep can you actually go?
I was a little bit, as a game critic, disappointed. As a game critic. As someone who paid some money for a game, I don't think it went deep enough. I think that it would have been... I think that there was this big mystery at the end of the trailer where it's like, oh, and you can go into the deep, dark depths. And there's like nothing really down there. That maybe I've just not found it, but
maybe you have to keep
online.
digging. It's like Minecraft. It's like you have to keep digging down. I don't know.
It'd be very cool to find some mysterious thing down there, though.
Not a lore thing, but something I am curious to do because this game hasn't been data mined.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there are new... When you open up the DLC after downloading it, there are new islands. Like the access to Bubbly Basin appears as a new, like, I guess, like entity or island that was not previously in the Vermilion City location. And so I'm wondering if there are more potential new islands in the watery areas in the other parts of the world. I haven't looked around yet.
I looked around. I couldn't find anything. Okay. But I was hopeful that, like, maybe they've added a gate somewhere or added something to a particular stage. There was one thing, though, that was, like, the whole DLC was, like, kind of about, and yet I felt the lore was very sparse again.
Yeah.
Manaphy. Did you pick up anything for Manaphy where you're like, oh, yeah, that was, like, a cool...
It made me like Manaphy. I didn't. I was not a Gen 4 kid, so, like, Manaphy, I'm like, I have no association with it. No, that's crazy. It's kind of cute. I don't know. No, I didn't see anything yet. I gotta keep playing. I do need anything else that caught your eye?
Not really. Like, I think Cerulean... I'm Googling Cerulean City right now. I think
there's
like,
more here to the tower. I think we're gonna have to dig into this later.
Well, I think the tower is... Certainly, it was the thing that once I'd looked into everything, and I was looking at this tower, I was like, this is the most interesting thing. The jump to connect it to Suicune is not something I'd even considered. So that really feels like promising thing. Like,
okay, may I be so bold to say that Lugia does not have a tower, and Lugia I feel like Lugia was like cast away into the ocean, right? Is that lore accurate, or is that kind of an assumption?
Well, Lugia had a tower, and then that tower burnt down, and it's been residing in the Whirl Islands ever since.
So doesn't it make sense that Lugia maybe is this new tower is meant to worship Lugia, who is also the trio master of the Kanto birds? It's the trio. So you don't think Lugia, the sea serpent, right, the sea dragon, wouldn't want to reside in a location that worships water type Pokemon? I guess it's not a water type Pokemon, but it should be. It should be a water type Pokemon.
There's nothing about the tower or anything surrounding it. The best I can offer is like...
But there is an association to Ho-Oh in the Ecruteak City, right? I guess I'm looking at these as parallels. You've got...
What do you mean?
Like, Ho-Oh and Lugia are a duality. Kanto and Johto are a duality. Ho-Oh is in Ecruteak, which has these like, golden red, this golden red foliage around the tower. There were two towers. One burned down. Lugia was a refugee, and now Lugia maybe could be residing in Cerulean City.
Maybe,
where,
but like,
again, it's very blue. It's a blue, like, I don't know. I think
but you could say that about like you could say that about the Tower of Waters in the Isle of Arran. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for me, I would be like, I like the idea, I like the thinking, but actually, the only thing I could possibly think is that they have introduced the like whirlpools as spots where you can find stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there's a kind of whirl
but that's
connection.
Soft. That's soft. Yeah.
But I would want to be seeing like in the tower, some mention of or image of or reference to. And the tower looks, while obviously it's in a similar sort of style to those of Critique, does look distinctly very different, very modern. The focus on the kind of strong red accents is interesting, and nothing quite implying Lugia to me at the moment.
Sure, that's fair.
Especially because Lugia doesn't have like a connection to Cerulean City in the way that maybe Suicune does. I'm pretty sure Suicune does. I'm now like looking it up, and I'm like,
I think I just want to be clear. Like I don't think it's a stretch to use Johto lore to theory craft when it comes to Kanto, because I look at these two regions as like they're connected, right? They literally are connected. We all imagine a Legends, Kanto game that would include the Johto map. Like I think historically these regions are connected. So maybe I mean, who knows, man? Maybe it's maybe it's Goldeen Tower.
Am I talking out my butt? Because
let's hear it.
Cannot find Suicune in Cerulean. I'm like looking it up. Am I wrong?
It's not in Cerulean City. It's like
it's north of the city. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's by Bill's house. It's on Cerulean Cape. That makes sense. Of course.
Another thing is Bill has a lighthouse in the anime.
He does.
And Bill, again, is very important to, I feel like, connected to Cerulean City and the overarching story and the evacuation of humans. And again, I guess it kind of makes sense that maybe it's not a lighthouse. This tower is not a lighthouse, but it's just, it's a big tower. I just have more questions. Would love to hear anyone in the comments if you have any ideas around this tower. We got to get to the bottom of it. Or the top. We gotta get to the top of the
if anyone's got any thoughts in the comments, I'll probably be keeping an eye on the comment section of this video very intensely, because I'm gonna want to try and piece this together.